Hey, what's up? I'm Aaron from Yo Spanish, and today we're with another student testimonial. Her name is Victoria Reich. She's from Liverpool in England. She's 25 years old and she's a transport manager. So, Victoria, thanks for coming on and doing this. Just want to ask you a few questions. So, what were you struggling with before you joined Yo Spanish?
Hi everybody. So I think the biggest struggle for me was just trying to grasp the language itself. Where do I start? I've had very basic understanding of it from, like I said, college and high school. But for me, it was really trying to grasp the language. Where do I start? And ultimately becoming conversational, because it's great knowing all the grammar and stuff like that, but that wasn't the aim for me. I really wanted to speak to people and be a bit more free with that language, and I just didn't have a clue where to start.
Mm. So, what was it about Yo Spanish that attracted you? Because you didn't have a clue where to start, but what was it that attracted you to it?
I think the clue word was becoming conversational. That was the big kind of catch thing for me. So myself personally, I spotted Your Spanish on TikTok. And it was straight after my trip to Dominican Republic. So I come back and I was very inspired by obviously Spanish, and it kind of reignited that flame, if you would, of wanting to learn it again. Um, just a few days, after my return to the UK, started scrolling on TikTok and I spotted Your Spanish. I don't really know exactly how it kind of came up on my page, but went on to the main page and spotted Jordan himself. Obviously talking to people. I think it was a video where he was talking to a lady in Spain or something like that, just really fluent. And then started diving into himself and into his kind of history and his journey into Spanish. That I've then learned he's from the UK, learned to himself. And that's what really captivated me about Your Spanish itself, that somebody who's not a native speaker was able to learn it themselves and become conversational. So that was it for me.
Mm. So that kind of sounds like it gave you kind of like confidence that, oh, I can do it too.
Exactly that.
Mm. Right. And so when you joined, so what's the experience been? Like how long have you been a member for, and like what's been your progress?
I think I had joined maybe back end of May this year. So let's say around about 6 months, to be fair. Um, I was anxious. I didn't know what to expect, to be fair. I've never kind of learned Spanish on like a tutoring basis. It was more in school. So I didn't know what to expect, but I felt very at ease. I felt like I've kind of been a part of the group straight away. Because every time there's someone new in the group, we do introductions, so you feel like you get to know those people a little bit. But the most important part for me was the fact that people were at similar stages to me, so it didn't feel like I was lacking anything, or I didn't feel silly, if that makes sense, that maybe my Spanish wasn't that great. And Jordan was just very understanding and very open about people's journeys and supporting, if that makes sense. So that was really, really nice, and just made you feel a bit more safer learning it.
Mm. Right. So you're referring to the group program that you're in, right? So you're in a group role play every week. And so you've been
Yes.
attending, you've had almost, I think, what, 100% attendance? Like you've been really seriously taking part. And so what's been the progress that you've noticed within your own Spanish?
I think definitely, kind of bringing it back to the first point I've made, not only has it enabled me to understand how you form sentences in Spanish, which ultimately is a direct link on how you become conversational in a way. So the FlowChatMethod that's on the members area has really broken it down for me, which then I've been able to take it into those role play conversations and role play team meetings with Jordan and the group, and that's where we've been able to practice it. And I think the first few lessons for me, or the first few calls, was really all about hello, how are you, what are you doing, how old are you, all of that. And that was it for the first few weeks, and that enabled me to kind of gain the confidence to not only speak but also understand how to create those sentences. So to answer your question in terms of how has my progress been, or what I've seen change, is definitely the confidence, um, understanding how to create sentences, and ultimately becoming more conversational about that. I am not where I want to be just yet, because I kind of understand that for it to be kind of a full loop. You need to have that one-to-one conversations with Spanish speakers or people that speak Spanish, which is something that I still lack. But nevertheless, I feel so much more confident, and I don't feel like, I'm lacking the tools to be able to speak Spanish, no matter how kind of simple that might be.
So if you went to, let's say you went to Spain tomorrow, would you be able to get around with the Spanish that you have now?
Yeah, I can say yes, which is a confident statement to make, but yeah, 100%. And ultimately, I think is making that first step of even trying to speak Spanish, because it's so much easier just to go to a foreign country and speak English to people. But yeah, like I said, not only is it making the first step, but I feel confident to try and get by, if not speak to people, and I put myself out there, which is a big step as well, because I think a lot of people fear of even trying to be out there and start speaking Spanish, because what if I make a mistake? But yeah, kind of bringing it back again to the previous question you said, that's something that Jordan has made us feel very good about in terms of making mistakes. No matter how fluent you might be, you're still going to make mistakes. We're only human, ultimately even native speakers make mistakes. So I think that's a good thing, or a good way to think about speaking another language.
Yeah, and you're making amazing progress in there. Jordan's very proud of the progress that you're making, and that's why he likes to teach students like you who are really serious. Like you're showing up, you're putting in the work, and he speaks very highly of you. So yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank you very
So
much.
do you have any advice, any last comments, or any advice for people, maybe they're on the fence? Like you mentioned, you were a bit like skeptical, or you didn't know what was going on before when you joined. Maybe if someone's in that position and they're like, maybe they've been studying lots of Spanish stuff for so long and they're not really making any progress, what would you say to that person?
From experience, if you don't take that first leap, you're never kind of gonna get there. And it's what you said before, it's showing up. Just because it doesn't make sense to you in the first week, second week, third week, doesn't mean it won't click at some point. You don't learn how to ride a bike in a day, and you're not going to learn a new language in a day. You just keep on having to show up for yourself and prove to yourself that you can do it. And ultimately, there becomes a point where it just clicks and certain things just start making sense. But it's a journey. It's a journey every day. It's a journey to try and kind of push yourself and keep yourself accountable as well, to the promises that you've made yourself. But bottom line is, I think it's, why do you want to learn that language? That will keep you motivated and keep you in check and keep you accountable for the decision you've made. And that's probably it, to be fair.
Yeah, and that's a good point you make there about why you want to learn it, because that's something that a lot of people are not clear on, right? They're not clear on why they want to learn it. So would you recommend Yo Spanish, or
100%, and I might be very biased about it because I'm a part of it, but yes, I would. Not only are you kind of getting the experience of talking to maybe not a native speaker, but I personally, I think that's a good thing, that you're learning from a non-native speaker, because there's a story behind it and there's proof in the pudding, if you would, that it's possible. So for me, that's so much better than learning from a native speaker. Everyone's obviously different. Well, I would definitely recommend that. Not only do you get kind of your potentially one-to-one, should you want to, or group sessions, and all you ever do is speak Spanish. There's a members area where there's vast amount of information down there for you to learn from. But ultimately, you've got a support group behind you, which is the big thing that you potentially don't get on tutoring one-to-ones. If you were to go to any other classes, we've got Telegrams, we've got people that we connect with, and that's worldwide. And I think that's something that you don't find a lot.
Yeah, amazing. Well, thanks, Victoria. Make sure you say your name right. Thank you very much for coming on and doing this. And continue on the journey and continue getting better.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Pleasure to meet you.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. Take care. Bye-bye.